All right, it's October 17th, 2018. We are at the end of the sprint number 12. My screen. Good. How do you see my screen? But this is pretty much the Jira board for this sprint. I'm not going to look at the details, but it's pretty nice to see the down column is pretty long, so that's always a good sign. Thanks for everyone for working on this sprint. So as every 3 weeks, we'll do a demo, and I guess Lucas will start, then Kenya, and then Shuka on visibility tracing. So Lucas, I'll let you share your screen and hear you well. Just share your screen.
Sure. Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you, and we can see your screen. So all good.
Can you? Okay, thank you. So from the Jupyter side, we have been working in a lot of bug fixes in the backend, but I would like to present 3 main features that we implemented for this sprint. So one is that before that earlier version of Kiali, we only support applications and workloads coming from the deployments controller. And now what we have done is to extend all the workload types to basically to any type of controller. So in terms of what we can see, I deployed the booking for well-known demo, but with the difference that, for example, now the workloads are not coming from deployment, but for example, in this case, I just modify the example just to, for example, to can this application for the daemon sets. Or if we go to the workloads tab, we can also see that some workloads come from raw pods, but with no controllers. Other workloads come from replica set without deployments, or other came from replication controller or the stateful sets. So now we enhance the filtering, and we can, for example, to give me all the deployments and also all the replica sets, and that creates fine granularity about, okay, this workload is created, has this pods, and is created by this controller. So this is one of the main features. Also, the workloads, the health status is updated. So now instead to talking replicas, we are talking about the desired and the current pods that we have per workload. Is something that is updated in all levels. At the application level, for example, we can see for the workloads how many pods this controller define, and how many pods I have. For example, for the reviews one, it's not visible. I can see that I have 3 workloads from different controllers, and I can see how many pods I have for each of them. Okay. The next feature that is interesting to show is that we have enhanced the metrics details view. For example, in an applications, if I go to the review application, this review application has 3 workloads. And it's interesting that now I can filter by, for example, by local versions. Remember that the reviews demo app has 3 versions. And now it's more easy to, for example, to compare different versions. For example, I can just to remove one of the metrics of the version, and I want to compare only version 1 and version 2. I can add also version C. So this is more easy just to follow what are the difference between both of them. Okay. The third interesting feature that we have is that we are adding more validation. Kiali also, we have started to integrate all the validation that Kiali performs against the istio config object with the Galei validations. And we improved the documentation about what are validation that are performed inside Kiali. What is different about what Gale is improving. The idea is to converge and to just to add extra value about what Gale validates inside Istio. And an example of this validation, for example, can be seen in this one. I have a virtual service, and this one is pointing to a non-existent gateway. So I have a warning. So this gateway doesn't exist. Also, I have a validation here. This TLS root doesn't have a valid service. Probably this host doesn't exist in my namespace. And also I have a warning here that probably this subset version 10 doesn't exist under this configuration. So this can give you a better picture why, for example, some of the traffic that you can see on the graph is not working as expected due to some validation issue when you create your configuration. And I guess that's it. So this mostly of the work is bug fixing behind of all what I presented, but yeah, this is the main feature that I wanted to show for this sprint. Thank you.
All right, that was great. Thanks. Okay.
It's my turn then. Let's do this. Can you guys hear my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this presentation for the team Saturn on what we did this sprint. The first thing that is the most important one is end-to-end testing. We moved everything from our tests that do not depend on the application itself, and that tests everything being deployed on Kubernetes, being deployed on OpenShift. And so on every pull request, we have a new bot that shows what kind of tests that we do and what is being done, the results. So we have a Jenkins pipeline to do that for each PR on the core, and also one for each PR on the UI. So that's something new from the QE team, and it's working really great. Second thing is that the graph namespace selector now, every time that you enter Kiali, it would open on the all. You would choose a namespace, and then if you go to somewhere else, do something, check metrics or anything like that, when you go back to the graphic, it would go back to all, which in many cases is not ideal, especially if you have like a really large mesh that can even hang up your machine. So we fixed that, and now the last namespace that you chose is the one that you are going to go back to. Second one, in our service graph, this one. Ours. You can see that we now have health indicators on every service, and not only on the apps or on the workloads. So that means that if one version is failing, you can see everything around it failing correctly. Next one, Kiali can now run on another context. So instead of, if you have more than one application running on the same host, on the same namespace, on the same subdomain, you can run Kiali on a subdirectory if necessary. That's documented on the README if you want to take a look at it. This is one that I have no way to show now, because we did have a cluster prepared to that, but it's not working correctly, unfortunately. But now, before it would show every unit node on the cluster. It would be shown here. Now they're hidden by default, and you can enable it by clicking here. So it's not going to show anything because everything is being used. One of the most important things that on this on this release, we focused more on making things more stable, fixing bugs, and fixing problems. So there was a lot going on under covers, and Kiali should feel more stable than it has been before. And this is the summary of everything we did have. Oh, there's one thing else that I forgot to say. On the edge labels, if you have HTTP and TCP traffic, you do not need to change anymore to choose just for TCP or just for HTTP. They're being shown together, so the filtering is a lot smarter right now. And that's it from Team Saturn. I see there are lots of new faces around here, so thank you very much for taking interest in our project, and that's it from us. Thank you.
Thanks. Shuka, I guess it's your turn. I see your screen, can't hear you.
Yeah, so I guess you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, the feature I'm demonstrating today is the automatic injection of Jaeger agents as sidecars to applications. All right, so we have the operator here running. This is my local version based on the latest master, and it is watching for Jaeger objects and for deployments. So automatic injection works only on deployments right now, mostly because it is. So with the operator running, I can then install I can install an Jaeger instance. So we see that there is one running. Waited. And we see one pod here. So I have Jaeger running on the pod. It says, well, so perhaps it helps if I show you what this file does. It's basically nothing, right? So we assume sensible defaults for pretty much everything. What it does behind the scenes, it runs the all-in-one deployment with in-memory storage. Is very useful for development purposes. Now, this is what we have already. This is what we had already, and what is new is the sidecar injection. So let me show you a deployment descriptor for one application that I have. So I have one application called Vertex Create Span, which is a very simple application. It just creates spans, nothing else. And what I did here is I added an annotation saying inject Jaeger agent and set it to true. And if I deploy this one here, so I have no other containers, only my application container here. And apply and sidecar. And we should then be able to see two new deployments here. So this is the original one, and this is the rewritten one. So the operator takes that deployment and injects a new container. And then Kubernetes sees a new deployment because of this new container and terminates the old one and starts a new one. So we see the old one with one container and the new one with two containers. The YAML file for that, we see that we have indeed the Jaeger agent and my application. Right, and it all works because I have one Jaeger instance running and because I specify this annotation. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
All right. Guess it works the same on OpenShift.
Yeah, the idea is to have it work on OpenShift as well.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Thanks. Any comment? Anyone else has something he wants to show? No? Going once, going twice. All right, so we'll talk, we'll do another demo in 3
Can you
weeks.
hear me?
Yes, yes.
It is not exactly something new, but since we do have lots of new people on here, just a reminder that we are pretty active on ERC. We have a YouTube channel for those meetings. We are pretty active on GitHub. We reply everything. We have Hacktober tasks for people that are interested in contributing. So if you do not knew anything about that, just ping us. We are going to be there.
All right, and on the product side, we have a tech preview 2 that went out, so people can try it on the official OpenShift product. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.